Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music, and this is my Sony cassette recorder. And this is a cassette tape that I made with my friend Dan in, I think, probably 91, 92. Cassettes are great because they're noisy. And they have the capability of doing all kinds of weird things. I've kept this because it's a tool. That's interesting. It sounds fantastic. I'm recording right now, right? Doubling down on top of it. You can pause, do all kinds of wacky stuff with tape. And tape is the theme of today's review because Blankforms has done this kind of amazing library for us of very expressive presets here in Spitfire's Tape Synths from Blankforms. Well, let's take a look at it today. Super fun to have a tape deck. And of course, when I was coming up, really all we had to record on was tape. And tape has all kinds of remarkable properties, including adding saturation and distortion. We've talked about saturation and distortion really actually fairly recently. Listen, Spitfire's just released Tape Synths from Blankforms. All these beautiful synthesizers and tones have been processed through tape and tape-like devices to create expressive presets that we can use and really control right within the DAW. The basic interface is very familiar for any of us who've used this. Oh, I should say this. It's available now, and I think at that sort of like lower price that they're doing for these packagey type things of $49, 49 euros. There are basically three categories in its presets, and they are pads, you can see it there, keys, you can imagine, and arpeggios. In addition, there's a fourth category very graciously provided by Blankform of a bunch of his bespoke presets. Really, it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. We can't look at them all today, but they're really, every one of them is interesting. Listen, we'll look at a few today. So the very first patch that they sort of drop on you is called Aged. And well, you can imagine here, let's play a very simple D minor chord. And as I do, I'll slowly move the mod wheel, I'm using a slider, higher and higher. At every point along its travel, I get a slightly different tone, from a deep fundamental to a lot of noise. You can hear a little bit of percolation coming in till I get to the top and a lot of the noise goes away. I get even more modulation. You hear an extra tone on the top, right? We have now a rather complicated chord. And now it starts to just warble away. That entire travel gives me slightly different qualities of sound. Listen, aren't you kind of curious what's going on under the hood? Let's watch that exact same gesture here in Insight. And as I move the slider up, you see a whole bunch of frequencies coming in. It's kind of distortion, isn't it? Very noisy, very furry, more low mid-range, lots of fur, lots of noise, extra harmonics, very specific ones, and now the rhythm. Let's look at a few more patches and we can sort of get a sense of what's going on here. For me, the pads are the standouts. Noisy Sign. Again, we'll start at the bottom of the travel. Same D minor chord. Very pure sound. You hear what happens at, whatever that is, 30, 40%? That's cool. It's like a noise source at like what, a ninth or 13th? I think it's a 2 notes actually up there. So a very complicated sound, and then back again. Listen, one of the things that you can do in Logic, and you can program this kind of thing just in automation, of course, but I could add a MIDI effects modulator and send a very simple, let's say a sine wave LFO. We'll make it 2 bars to mod wheel. You see what I just did there? So now you can see it's traveling by itself. I can just play a chord progression. And it just kind of creates a lot of animation and motion in a beautiful way, doesn't it? Listen, let's bump over to some of the keys. What's going to happen if we shift this? It gets brighter and less pitchy, right? All along that travel, you've got all kinds of control. Additionally, the big knob gives you a bunch of effects. You can control reverb, and in this case, a lot of the envelope, which I'm very grateful for. So if I grab the big knob slider and change the start point, I get a very different sound depending on where the sample is triggered at. Pretty useful, really. Let's trigger it inside here, and then do that same thing. It's almost like a different instrument. Let's take a look at degraded sine in the keys section. And this one interested me no end, and I'll show you why in a second. At the bottom of its travel, it's a very simple sound. And as I move the expression wheel up, it adds tones underneath, doesn't it? What are those notes? Well, we probably should know. Let's figure it out. All right, so I'm playing a D, and as I slide in, I think what's getting added underneath, you can see it right here, and then its overtones is a G. Yeah, see when I play a G, there it is, I can see that. So if I play a fifth, I get a really complicated sound. Stack a fifth on top of that, another one. So these kinds of effects are just gorgeous, and the kinds of things that make a unique pad. You got to be careful as you integrate them into your arrangement, however, make sure it fits with your harmonies. Well, some of these arpeggiator tones deserve our attention as well. Let's play around with the start point of this. Oh, I like that. It's sharp. Let's go on. Now, just out of respect, and we can't look at them all, some of these gorgeous presets from Blankforms just deserve to be listened to. Let's pick one or two. Can you imagine that with a breakbeat going on underneath? I'm just playing an A minor triad and then a G triad. So thick. Let's give it a little animation with the modulator. There we are. Analog synthesizers, analog tape, the kind of saturation and distortion that you can really only get from processing that takes place in kind of like a almost mechanical domain. We're talking about little pieces of rust stuck to celluloid tape, right? Wow, crazy. It's all about variety. It's all about unpredictability. It's all about pushing past the design parameters of the already existing instrument into an area that's, just yours. And those pleasant surprises are waiting for you. You can do this kind of thing with hardware synths fairly easily. It's difficult to do in the DAW, and it's just a great thing. And to be able to kind of like reach in and play around with these layers of effects, layers of granulation, layers of saturation, layers of tape noise built in to the process. I really love the pads on this. These extra presets from Blankforms are a great way to get started. Easy interface from Spitfire, very reasonably priced at $49, 49 euros. This is definitely going to make it into my template. Well, I hope this has been useful. Like and subscribe. Ding the bell. You'll be notified when I do my videos, and I will see you next time.